Lagos High Court has restricted protesters in Lagos taking part in the proposed August 1 nationwide protest to the Gani Fawemi Freedom Park in Ojota and Peace Park Ketu area of the state. Recall that the Inspector General of Police, Kyle Debotogun, had asked organizers of the protest to submit to force headquarters contact details of those organizing the protest, as well as designated points and routes. This is even as they asked the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lawaja, to withdraw soldiers deployed across the Federal Capital Territory and other cities ahead of the proposed protest. The IGP, however, buckled yesterday and ordered senior officers to protect protesters in the planned nationwide protest. Meanwhile, stakeholders in the Nigerian project continued yesterday in their call for both organizers of the protest and federal government to exercise restraint over the protest, especially given the pro-government protests in some part of the country on Monday. The Edward Buru and solicitor to one of the protest organizers, Take It Back movement, in a letter to the IGP, listed the point of convergence for the rallies include Eagle Square in Abuja, Alausa Park, Lagos, and opposite Wema Bank and Apapava Lane, Benin City. School of Agric, Bauchi, Rosewale Filling Station, Iwo Road in Ibadan, Meduguri Roundabout, opposite State Stadium, Damaturu, Yobe State, Rainbow Roundabout, and Pantani Stadium, Rivers, and Freedom Park, Oshogbo in Osun State. I was looking at this, and I did not see any point of convergence in Southeast.
Well, the Southeast
Okay, Jumoke is here. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. The Southeast has said, it has always said it since this transitional administration, that it would not participate in any protests. It has more than enough issues battling with the issue of unknown gunmen and sit at home already, and that they do not want more of this issue to actually affect them. So they had always stated it, whether in a public document or in a non-public documents, you could hear their leaders always ask their people not to participate. However, the interesting things that have emerged is the new dimensions of dialogues, where the Inspector General and human rights activists, per se, the so-called, are having conversations about the nature of what this protest should look like. Protests, they would say, and riot have a thin line. And somebody would say we should put our hands together to develop Nigeria. Every nation that has developed based on the ideals and the voice of people. There've almost been no known place where dialogue with citizens are taken into. Our National Assembly has ceased to exist for citizens. The president also has stopped shy of being just dishing out these vulnerable palliatives as a guest, having a real one-on-one interactive session with the press. Sincere interrogation, non-planned, allow people to actually have a heart-to-heart. They are so far away from what the people are going through daily. And that's why the talk is always around give rights to vulnerable population. Everybody has become vulnerable. Doctors are vulnerable. Professors are vulnerable. The way this thing has affected people, they think it's just common market, that like a particular segment of the society that they always assume is very poor are those who are only affected. There are houses of professors and doctors as we speak today that will tell you that they will have one meal today. So if the cream of anything that is supposed to be knowledge, that is supposed to be prime in your society, has been driven down to this level of poverty, and you are talking about vulnerability in terms of just the person who lives in Ayeye. In fact, the person who lives in Ayeye has a better economic bargaining opportunity, because if you tell me you are doing something to Naira, it's affecting my rice, I take my rice from 200 Naira to 400 Naira. Can I take my medical service from 5,000 naira within the state government purview to 20,000 naira. Almost impossible. And 1 year has gone. This salary review, you say you have approved it. Even if you release it, it can never be commensurate to the level of poverty that you have inflicted with your policies.
But it has been signed into law. I mean,
it's unfortunate.
For federal government workers, we can certainly be sure that the next salary, which is August, will probably reflect it. And they will also get arrears.
The issue is beyond salary.
But the battle will be taken to the state government right now. So you see how they will begin to bargain at the state level. Now, I was talking about the list earlier. 3 states from the southwest for protest. You have 2 states from the south for protest, no state from the southeast, 2 states from the northeast, no state from the northwest, no state from the north central were mentioned in that letter by Adegburua as part of convergence and where they're going to protest. Does that mean that these other states, they are not hungry?
No, it does not mean they are not hungry. They are. You see, some people have been so battered. The North Central, for example, all through life, they've always had very terrible governance. Sorry to say. Sake of the times of maybe the likes of Taka, they've never really had visionary leadership. Salaries, if you go and look at salaries in those states, those are states where you go to, you hear that for the past 18 months, they've not, local governments are just, so the people have learned to be on their own. They live, it's almost, most of their states, if you go around some of these states, you will see that, go through the whole of Ibadan, the cream areas, all the gatemen there are from Nasarawa, and all of those places, Taraba. And you look at these people, some of them never saw the 4 walls of primary school. They can't even speak any language other than that language they are speaking. They only manage to pick language. And you are wondering, at 18, how come you got to this level, you never had an education of some sort or at any level? They can't even sign their names. When you do documents and you want to hire them for things, they can't sign their names. So they've been so neglected that there's nothing organized with their society. And of course, you have the issue of insurgents at different levels in their various corners in those places. And how to handle these issues are just way beyond. So therefore, I'm not surprised that some of these geopolitical zones do not have, but it's going to catch up.
Okay.
It's definitely going to catch
Nigerian
up.
Tribune has 80,000 applications received for 110 billion youth investment fund in 72 hours. Some people have said that this protest is successful already, going by the momentum of response by government. The moment this began to gather weight, you see youth investment fund, government announcing it, you see minimum wage signed into law, you see rice everywhere. The wife of the president was said to be distributing rice in Ibadan here yesterday, and some other places across the country. The 20 trucks of food that were distributed into the states, and this tokenism, started coming out. You see them responding in this manner.
I call them non-visionary approaches. I call them these very bamboozle approaches, where you respond to issues that are long-term. You respond to leprosy like you are responding to malaria, like it will go away tomorrow. You can't respond to leprosy that way. It's so, the issues we have, they are so evasive. It needs a leadership that is very tenacious, very visionary, deep foresight, looking at, doing deep analysis of 10 years down the line, making the people understand that, look, these are the places where these savings are going to at the moment. Transparency has to come into place. And that is one big issue with this administration. It's so opaque. The policies just come up. You can see that, like, there are so many Jawo boys, I don't know what specific English can, who come up with these very funny ideas about money making. They want to make this money quick, and they don't care at what cost to the masses. So we need some level of vision. We haven't seen vision. I've not heard anything in this government that talks about in 5 years, in 3 years, in 2 years, this is where this will be going to. Dangote refinery is a major example of, you can see the shift. Oh, we'll be ready in July, we'll be ready in August, we'll be ready in November.
Right.
It has never really come to this thing. 1 year into this government, the catacrysis is unnecessary, is uncalled for,
okay.
and you could see there's almost no end in sight.
Page 6 of Nigerian Tribune says FG suspends import duties, taxes on essential food items. Just everything that will make people to just say we are doing something.
May I help them quickly by saying FG has released in every state of Nigeria 40 extension officers, 10 dealing with rice in this 10, 5, 6,
Is this
7,
your own
8
national
regions.
address?
Yes.
Okay.
However, yes, you should.
should.
Because how would you be telling us that you are removing import duties 1 year into governance when it will just take you 3 months to actually produce up to 10 staple foods?
Okay. Fuel crisis may end as vessels berth in Lagos. So I hope Bosu bought fuel at 900 naira. Was that yesterday? Yeah, 2 days ago. Maybe we'll no longer buy at 900 naira. So the imported fuel are back. So check page 28 of the Punch. You'll see that story.